Hello, everybody. This is Lance Tomashiro. I'm super glad that you are here today. You know, one of the things that Robert and I see over and over and over again, kind of like a merry-go-round, like the same people coming around, the same problems happening over and over, is that people get stuck in this world of internet marketing. And here's the truth, like all of you that are on this call, all of you that are watching this video, you all came to it for the same reason. You decided that you wanted to sell a product or a service and make some money online. And I know how that dream was sold to you. That dream was sold to you the exact same way it was sold to me. And it basically probably sounded something like this. Put up a website, put a button on the page, and all of a sudden your PayPal account will be overflowing with money. And then all of a sudden you figured out well, now I got to learn how to put up a page. I got to learn how to make a product. I got to learn how to hook it up to my email marketing. I got to learn how to advertise. I got to learn about SEO. And it's like every single time that you thought you were figuring something out, a new door opened. At least that's how my experience has been. And a lot of the people that Robert and I have been talking to over the past years, especially recently, as we've been talking to a lot of you, it's the same sort of story. And so what we want to do today is we want to give you a clearer picture. We want to make sure that you can escape what Robert and I call the merry-go-round, right? The merry-go-round of internet marketing, that look at the bright, shiny object, do this, here's another thing, look at the bright, shiny object, so that you can know how these pieces fit into your business and you can get off the dang merry-go-round and start moving forward. I mean, you can either keep going in a circle or you can choose the right path and choose a trajectory and go forward, which really is where you get to the holy grail of making money online. So I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're all ready to pay attention. Robert and I are sick and tired of you not getting results. You've got to be sick and tired of not getting the results that you want. You're probably sick and tired of not even really understanding the big picture of what it is that you're building. Today, we're going to get you off that merry-go-round. We're going to get you going in a straight line, and help me welcome Robert Plank.
Super great. I am glad that you're all here, and thank you very much for the introduction, Mr. Lance Tomashiro. And yeah, Lance and I want to help you to get to where you want to go. And the way I see it, you have two choices in front of you. One is that you can keep doing what you're doing and try to do it all on your own without a support system, without a guide, and that's okay, but that's not going to get you to where you want to go consistently, right? Then the other extreme is that some people say, oh, maybe my problem is that, I don't have a coach or I don't have a mastermind. But what's going to happen many times is that if you don't have something in place for your online business, then that coach or that mastermind is just going to continuously point you to whatever course or whatever training that you actually need. So believe it or not, being stuck in the middle of those two extremes, one extreme is that you're all on your own. The other extreme is that you have people with you. Having a course or some kind of system to follow, even if you've seen some of those things in the course done before, helps you so much to get you where you want to go, so that you don't have to feel bad about not having a blog, not having a sales leader. You go and you make those things. You put a product online, you put up a download page, you start building a list, you do all these things that you might have heard over and over again. And maybe over the years or over the few months, you've heard these things so many times that you said, oh yeah, I heard of that. I keep hearing I need to build a list. I keep hearing I need to email that list. I keep hearing that I need to put products online and have upsells and things, but I'm going to ignore that and go over to the bright, shiny objects, the fun stuff. And maybe there's a reason why you keep hearing about these basics, these fundamentals over and over again, because they're so important, because without having that base in place, the goodies don't quite have the same effect. And so we need to redo and reframe some of our thinking today, because the other alternative is overwhelm. Now, do you feel overwhelmed? It's okay to admit that you do, because I know that I feel overwhelmed sometimes too. And you know what? As we were getting ready for this call, I even had an email come in from someone saying that he's putting off a so-called upgrade to a thing called Entreport. We're dealing with something similar with a coaching client. So everywhere you look, people are saying, well, geez, if only I had this one shiny tool, this one service, this one shopping cart, that would solve my problems. In the same way that sometimes people say, if only I had this pile of money, it would solve my problems. Would it remove all your problems? No, you just have different problems, and many times the grass is greener on the other side. But if you feel overwhelmed about these things called funnels or CRMs, if you heard about that, people telling you you need to track the customers that you don't have, or you need to add all kinds of tracking and upsells to products you don't have yet or products you're not yet selling, and it's like, okay, well, I know that I hear that a funnel is great, but if I don't have anything to sell quite yet, is that a thing that I need? Or maybe you hear about things like tagging your subscribers or segmenting, and you're saying, well, this all sounds really great in theory, but I don't have the number of subscribers I want, or I'm not building enough subscribers every day, or I'm barely even talking to my list as it is, let alone segmenting them into 5 or 10 different little pieces. Or maybe people are telling you, you need to know your numbers, you need to know your data or your analytics. And I don't know about you, but that stuff even overwhelms me. And I'm always thinking, instead of chasing the latest featured, latest bright, shiny object, let me just use a regular object, a dull object, and just get something done, get some kind of progress. And if you feel like you're just overwhelmed and crazy with all the possibilities, new things coming out every couple of days, well, you're not alone. And we're all among friends here. And it's probably time to stop for a second and change our way of thinking. Because the trap that many people fall into, including me sometimes, and I'm sure you watching, listening right now, is the exciting but useless trap. And it's perfectly fine, perfectly natural to focus on the what ifs, the possibilities, the finish line. Well, someday I'll have this huge product funnel and all these upsells, and my list will hear me in all these emails, and they'll get postcards from me, and when they click on different things, it'll change the messages they get. That all sounds great, but what about putting one foot in front of the other, getting a few things done? You might need such and such bright, shiny object someday. You might need an affiliate program someday, but what good is an affiliate program if you don't have products yet to sell, right? And you might have found that up to this point, it's really difficult to solve a bunch of things at once. It's difficult to do a bunch of things at the same time. It makes a lot more sense if you say, having an affiliate program is something I really want to do. It's something that I've heard I should do. Well, let me back up and figure out what are the prerequisites for that. I need a website first. I need something to sell first. I need to get enough sales to justify whatever new bright shiny object I'm going to be paying for every month. So let's just cut out the multitasking and let's get to finishing, because what happens is you don't notice all the little things that pile on throughout your day, right? You check Facebook, you check email, you buy this thing, you're setting up this stuff, you're editing that PLR, you're setting up a new website, you're looking into the software, playing around with these things and plugins. Next thing you know, you ran out of daytime, nothing's finished, you say, I'll do it tomorrow, but then what happens tomorrow? Tomorrow you say, oh, there's a new pile of so-called emergency things for me to do, and then all the things from yesterday don't get done, and it's a new pile of things, and some days it seems like it's just a never-ending cycle of this, and the end result is that you're always running out of time. So it's a really weird place and a really scary place to be in. And I don't know how long you've been trapped in this. I don't know if you're trapped in this now, or maybe you were trapped here in the past or will be in the future, but I can definitely relate to just having so much going on that you're always running out of time. Running out of time is okay. It's okay to leave things unfinished as long as money is coming in. But for a lot of people out there, and I'm not saying this is you specifically, but a lot of people out there are stuck on the merry-go-round, and they don't even necessarily realize that. They're having a good time, they're plugging away, they're making all these connections, doing all these things, but then one day is the same as the next, as the next, as the next. There's no growth. There's a little bit of money being lost every single month, and it's more of a hobby than a business. And you might be thinking, well, how many years have I gone on like this, or how many more years will I have to go on like this of just starting new things, not finishing, starting more things, spending more money, being overwhelmed? There's always something new to get to, but nothing's really quite getting done. So and I think that you might agree with me, or you might even realize, and this might be slightly painful, but let's just be honest with ourselves here just for a couple of minutes. If you're stuck on the merry-go-round, it's probably because you're doing too many things at once. You're not getting to that finish line on the various projects that you have, and then the end result, and you might not realize it the day of or the next day or the next day, but it's a lot of time, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of money wasted, it's a lot of doing 10 things at once, getting 90% of the way done, getting bored again, throwing that out, going to something new, and it sounds exhausting to me, right? So if you know that this is your pattern, or maybe it could be sometimes, are you open to reconfiguring? If you are, go ahead and say yes in the chat boxes. We're going to just give you some advice. And this might have been something that you've heard before or told yourself, but I'm just going to tell you this is what you need to do in order to change your way of thinking. And it's pretty simple. So let's just keep things simple here. Number one is to act quickly on any idea that you have. And that means that you'll get it done in a few hours, and you won't let anything else get in your way. You'll get it online any which way, no matter what. If it means it has to look bad, if it means you have to use a PayPal button instead of a Stripe button, get it online any which way. If you commit to doing that, that'll solve not all of your problems, but quite a few. In that you don't put something on the back burner, you don't go and buy that new PLR pack if you already have other things that are pressing. If you have nothing going on, then go ahead and buy those resale rights or buy that shopping cart and use it immediately. Use it the same day, get something set up the same day. Keep it small scale so that you finish. When Lance and I work with people doing their membership sites, every single time they want to have 10 things for sale, they want to have built-in calendars and communities and forums and all these upsells and downsells and trial offers and drip content and all these different things. And we say, those are all great, but can you somehow separate the must-haves from the nice-to-haves? What is the bare minimum that you can put in place, even if your website looks ugly or you have to even deliver downloads manually? If that gets the job done, maybe spend 10 minutes on that tomorrow, but keep it small scale so that you can finish. And finishing doesn't just mean that you have a web page online. That's a really great place to be, but after you put something online, see it through, send some traffic, post it to Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, send traffic from your list to it, social media, paid ads, YouTube, all those things that you hear about. Don't just keep setting things up and letting them die and letting them sit there forever and ever. Actually send traffic to those things that you set up. Get enthusiastic about finishing and about taking risks. And what's really great about this step here is that once you get in the habit of finishing the things you start, this is in a lot of ways built in. Because you'll say, oh, you know what, a few years ago my problem was that I'd start things, but now I'm starting something, finishing it. And even if you make a little bit of money, you say, hey, at least I proved to myself that I can make $100, $500, $1,000 from this. And you develop that, you pick that up as a new habit, a new pattern in your life. And then you get excited about being the problem solver, the troubleshooter. You get excited about course correcting, and course correcting usually for me and Lance means that we set something up, we launch it, it falls flat on its face, we make a couple of tweaks, we fix some things, we add a bonus, we promote it a few more times, we do something to improve it, and then we make money and we think, oh, that's great because we used our own brains to figure it out. If we just pushed a button and money came in, we'd say, I'm not sure if I believe that the button's going to keep on working or that the money's going to keep coming in. But if I say, I put that out and people didn't go for it, but I changed the copywriting up a little bit. I made the offer a little clearer. I added another bonus video. I made a webinar and then it clicked. I say, ooh, cool, because now I know that the one thing I changed actually clicked with our audience. So now I know what to repeat again and again. And then this all is leading to this basically feedback loop where you're excited to make more money out of thin air. Anytime that you want to have more money, you think to yourself, all right, well, what am I missing? What's a cool idea I haven't tried yet? What is my list asking about? Or based on what my list has bought for me in the past, what new thing will they buy from me? And then you can get excited about the money you're going to make and not dreading the action that you're not going to take. So I hope this is making sense so far. Just that we need to throw out some of these old ways of thinking and develop new habits where we start things, we finish things, we make money with things, and that leads us to the next idea where we can once again start, finish, and make money. And that might mean that you make product number 2, product number 3. It might mean that you promote something as an affiliate that gives you a little bit of spending money to make your own first product or whatever it ends up being. But we're looking to create this feedback loop of not just having a one and done business, not just making one website and getting a few $1,000 and calling it a day, but creating a whole business, a whole lifestyle from this. So you need to have more speed in your business. And how do you get more speed? How do you make it so that when you have a new idea or you start off on something, that website that you want to make doesn't take 6 months to make, doesn't take 6 weeks to make, it's done in a few days, if not a few hours. Well, first you need a guide. And like we said at the beginning of this call, a mentor is not always a guide, right? Sometimes a guide is you find someone who sounds okay, you buy their training course, and you don't just buy a training course in the sense that you buy it and you don't look at it. It's not the situation where you buy a training course and you kind of pick and choose what you want to look at and you say, ooh, well, module 7 looks interesting, I'll just watch 10 minutes of that. Module 5 looks interesting, I'll just watch 10 minutes of that. And then that's been your problem all along, right? You set up little bits and pieces here and there, Or we see sometimes people will buy some of our courses and they'll look at module 1 and they'll say, you know what, I don't really agree with what you said there, so I'm not going to set that up, but I'm going to skip to module 3, 4, and 5. And we say, that's fine, but wouldn't it make more sense to see the whole big picture? And when you were stuck, it's perfectly okay to go off on your own way, but how about this very first time, you just give our way a chance. You set it up the way that we show you how to set it up, and then later on, if you want to change that, if you want to make it your own, that's totally fine. But when we say things like, here's how we would make an opt-in page, here's how we would make a blog, here's how we would do traffic, these sorts of things, why not at least give our way a chance? That way you can see it through. And it's easy to get confused about all the fancy tools out there, but to be honest, a lot of the tools that are out there that kind of herald themselves as the all-in-one solution are a huge pain in the butt. Some of them, they don't tell you, will require merging 5 or 6 different systems together, or you might have to hire someone to maintain something full-time. So I don't really care if I'm looking at whatever tool to get the job done. I don't necessarily look at what has the craziest features, but what will keep it simple for me. What tool out there will I actually be able to use? And a tool is okay, right? It's okay to say, well, here's a tool like GoToWebinar, Camtasia, PayPal, WordPress, Aweber, these sorts of things. But sometimes you start using a tool and you're like, I don't even know what to click on. I'm not even sure what to do. And tools plus templates really get you there, because you can see the template of what your email sign up page or your sales letter is supposed to look like, and that eliminates the guesswork for you. And then you look at steps that you're supposed to take, the clicks that you make, you look at a checklist, so that way you set it up an opt-in page one time and you remember which clicks you clicked on, or which buttons and which links and things like that you clicked on to get that email sign up page online. And then you just go through those same clicks again, but change the words and things like that to just set it up over and over again. So all this that we're saying is leading to the question, what are the bare essentials? Throwing out all the craziness, do you really need analytics to make your first money online? Well, no, you don't. Do you need an affiliate program? No. Do you need tagging, lifetime cookies, one-time offers, countdown clocks? No, those are nice to haves. Those aren't the must-haves. So what are the absolute bare minimum necessities for your online business? Well, here it is. Are you ready? If I knew this years before I found it out, I could have made so much extra progress in my first couple of years online, but I had the problem of not separating the forest from the trees. I tried to do 10, 20 things at once, and I should have just focused on these 3 things. You ready for these 3 things? If you're ready for these 3 things, can you go to the question box and type in 1, 2, 3, and we'll tell you what these 3 things are. All right, everyone ready? All right, here we go. So the first thing you need, number 1, you need a website in place. Pretty simple, right? There's no way, if you want to get email signups, if you want to get sales, if you want to get repeat sales, any of that, there's no way that you can make any of that without a website. Does that make sense? You want someone to sign up for something for your email list? Well, if you don't have a blog, impossible. If you want to make some sales of an ebook or video course or membership site, something like that, doesn't happen without a website. So you need to have a website, and there are these solutions out there where some places they'll say, well, here's a great platform, we'll host it all for you, and then you might get stuck with their platform. And some of these platforms look great, except for they're $100 a month, $200 a month, and they'll let you have a few pages on there, but if you ever want to cancel or you ever want to do something more advanced, you're paying more than you would for web hosting for less features. So sometimes places that will host all your stuff aren't necessarily good. It's better, I think, to have your own website where you can do whatever you want. So you have your website and you have on there an offer or something to buy. Then it's no good to have a website unless people are coming to your website. So you have a website and you have links from all over the internet. You have links from places like Facebook and YouTube taking people onto your website. People who are looking for a drone racing course or a learning guitar course, things like that. New people coming to your website. And then people come to your website is fine, but that's just a little trickle of traffic. That's a little bit of money. The big money is in those people who come to your website again and again to come back. Does that make sense? Someone comes to your website, they buy from you, now they're on your list. So if you have something else for them to buy, maybe they'll buy that too. Someone comes to your website, they see your blog, they sign up for your email list, and then maybe when you have something to buy, you email all those people. So having just the website isn't enough. Having people coming to the website is not enough. You need to have all three of these things in place. Someone coming to the site, you need a site for them to come to, and once they come to it, you need a way to make things stick. Either they sign up for an email list or they buy from you, and that way you'll be in contact with them again and again. So it's easy to sometimes ignore the low-hanging fruit, the easy money, if you're looking to so-called make ends meet. So if you're in whatever setback you're in right now, it's a financial setback or if it's a personal setback, health setback, whatever is happening, think about this. In the long term, a crisis was usually good in the long run. We're all probably going through some sort of a crisis. Again, not always with money and not always the same crisis with all of us, but we're all going through something. And you think about those times when things are really rough for you, you probably look back at it a little calmer now, especially if it was years ago. It's kind of an interesting, fun event. So a crisis was usually good in the long run because maybe you learned a lesson, you got your humility back, or you became a nice person again, or you found newfound gratitude, find out who your friends were, or maybe it just even just stripped away all the garbage, right? It stripped away all the reasons why you told yourself you couldn't do it, and because times were tight, because things are rough, because you just had to step up to the plate and take some action, you somehow got out of your comfort zone and made it work. So if you find yourself backsliding or saying, I've been having trouble getting out of my comfort zone these days, I've been a little more hesitant, well then think back to those times when it was a little rough and you made it work. You figured out a way to get out of that comfort zone and figure out a way to get back to that mental state again. So I'll give you a couple of examples. So a lot of people out there are dabbling or they're trying a little bit of everything, and that's not good. You need to focus on one exact thing. But you might have been playing around with Amazon products or a Shopify store or eBay or whatever it is, and let's say that's what you're doing. Let's say you were selling physical products. And sometimes people spend a lot of time on just getting a product listing of some sort on there or playing around with their description. But you know what? The real value of, say, selling on an area like Amazon or Shopify or eBay is this, that you're part of a marketplace. That if you're listed on Amazon, there are people all over Amazon looking to buy stuff. So you're on Amazon really in a high traffic area where people are making searches, getting recommendations. This is traffic that Amazon sends to you. And then on any kind of e-commerce situation like on Amazon, you're selling a physical product. And this is your offer. And then, so guess what? This is pretty similar, right? Amazon sends you traffic, you make some sales, and then getting traffic, making sales is okay for some flatness there for a little bit of money, but we want some growth. And growth in Amazon is that Amazon will remind those past buyers to buy it again, or as you make sales, you'll rise in the rankings, they'll give you more traffic. But look at this again, traffic, offer, and list. Here's another example. Have you heard of Fiverr? Well, it turns out that these sites, these freelancing sites such as Fiverr, are a great way to make a little bit of initial money. To make a little bit of money from, say, an hour every morning, to have extra money to pay the bills or save up for those other purchases or whatever reason, any extra money is good. So the great thing about even freelancing, which, let's be honest, a lot of people look down on, a lot of people overlook this, but why? You decide how much that you're going to charge. And a lot of people on some of these sites, they make money by doing things like having the fancy green screen video behind them, or by making these cartoon videos. And if you look at the prices for some of these people, some of them are charging $100, $2,000 for a video that lasts a few minutes. Pretty amazing. Or even for the green screen stuff, sure, they have to invest in a little bit of a setup for the equipment and the camera, and they need some know-how on how to do it. But once it's set up, $50 a pop, $500 a pop for a quick 20-second, 30-second, 1-minute green screen video. So as long as you're making money, you're on the right track. And it might be that the money you're making isn't enough, or it's too much work for that money, or it's not going to sustain. But if you're making at least some money, give yourself a break, because you're doing better than those people that are making $0. And even if you're making $0, you're learning, you're open to new things, you're here on this webinar, so you're even ahead of those other people who are only making $0. But think about this. Let's say that you are freelancing on a marketplace like Fiverr. Well, guess what? The advantage of this is that there's traffic coming in all the time. So when someone searches for green screen video, whiteboard video, now you pick up that traffic. Then they come and they see your page, and in this case, the offer is not an Amazon item, but it's the service you're providing, and someone clicks and they buy. And then now they're one of your buyers. You stay in contact, they trust you, and then after a few months pass, you contact them again, or contact this whole so-called list you're cultivating of buyers. Or let's say that people they saw your green screen gig on Fiverr and they were about to buy, and they messaged you some stuff and ended up not buying. That's still someone you can circle back around to in a few weeks or months and say, hey, I noticed you didn't buy last time, but here's my offer again. So you reach out to person after person, and it adds up. So speaking of person after person, here's one of our best friends. His name is Jason Wally-Waldron, and here's what he has to say about us. He says that you, Robert and Lance, have been most helpful in helping separate what works versus what's hype. I like that you and Lance are always experimenting so that I don't have to. I can just take your best practices and know that for the most part, they will work well for my situation, and that's Wally the web guy. So he looks at what we do with our sales letter templates, sees how we do our webinars, listens to us when we say, here's what's working right now. And he doesn't just sit back and say, okay, well, I'm going to copy Robert and Lance exactly. Or he doesn't sit back and say, well, I watched their videos, I took their course, where's my money? He still has to do some things on his own, but he's starting way, way ahead of the game, way, way ahead of most people who are still trying to figure it out, because he built off what we already showed him. So let's say that you were, and by the way, are you noticing that there are all these different proven models of making money online? There's more than one way to do it. So let's say that you were in the business of setting up websites and recommending affiliate products. So here's the path that would be, is that your traffic piece, let's say someone goes to Google and they're looking into what's the best web host to get. Or maybe they're looking into, say, a particular web host called Bluehost. And they do a Google search for something like Bluehost web hosting review. Then they click and they find a blog post of yours that has a review about this thing called Bluehost. And it says, here's a link, go and sign up for this web hosting service called Bluehost. So maybe you talk about some of the pros and cons, you show some videos about it, and then the thing to buy is not even a thing that you personally sell. You just recommend it to someone else. You get a commission, and then when someone gets a web hosting account, you get a little piece of that every single month. But then you're also building a list in a couple of ways, because you can have a sign-up form on your site in addition to linking over to an affiliate product. And those buyers that you're building, you might not be able to communicate with them all the time depending on your affiliate setup, but you have this handful of money coming in every single month from these recurring commissions, and that's money that you don't have to scramble for every single month. So we gave you a bunch of ideas, but what's more important than ideas is actually implementing, right? So I'm going to ask you a different question right now, and it's this one. Does it really matter? Does it really matter what your website is named? I mean, if you think about sites like Excite, Google, Yahoo, Facebook, it's not really that descriptive. And you can always rename your site later, or you can say, well, that site made me some money, but I have this better idea afterwards. It doesn't really matter, and it's not worth your time to waste 6 months thinking about what your website's named. It's not going to be perfect anyway. It doesn't matter thinking about which web host you should use and to spend 2 months looking up the reviews on each of these and getting 5 different web hosting accounts. Well, no. What matters is, does it work? Does it work or doesn't it work? Is it going to host your WordPress blog? Well, if so, then go ahead and get it. And if it gets to the point where after you use it for a few months, you don't like it, you can always move. But I look at it as if you're moving into some new neighborhood. There's only so much you can tell about if you're going to buy a house or rent an apartment in some neighborhood, and you might move in and it might be a bad few months and maybe not a good place to live, and it's time to work on moving, but it's better than staying homeless, right? And a lot of people out there who are just still hemming and hawing about their web host, they're basically homeless on the internet. They don't have a home for all their really cool stuff. Same thing with which email autoresponder service to use. The only mistake you can make is to not go with one. And what's good about me and Lance is we like to get specific. We can tell you, we can show you the best web host to use to get you started, the best autoresponder platform to use, and all that fun stuff. But if you already have one, make use of it. If you're stuck about which one to get, then figure out which one is going to work. And I'll tell you right now, as far as web host, we like a web host called Double Agent Hosting, an autoresponder, Double Agent Autoresponder. I'll just throw it out there for you. doubleagentautoresponder.com, doubleagenthosting.com. That gets you started. So does it matter how you host your membership site? Does it matter if you use this platform or that platform? No. What matters the most is that you set it up in the first place. Set up something simple now and migrate it later. And in fact, maybe you'll set it up on the cheap version now, the low cost version now, and you might be looking at something fancy for later, like a ClickFunnels or a Thinkific or a Lead Pages or a Kajabi or an Infusionsoft or an Ontraport. But you know what? You set it up on the simple thing right now. You set it up on your double agent hosting right now. And then if you want to move it over to your Kajabi or something, then that's a choice you can have later once you've made the money. But it makes more sense now to get it done now, to make money now, and then upgrade to the fancy stuff later. And you might not even want to because it already made money. Why be perfect about it? So my name's Robert Plank, and the first couple of years I was online, I was just stuck in learning mode. Maybe you can relate. I always had new ideas, new projects, but nothing was ever quite finished. And finally, after I just had enough, I was 17 years old, I was about to go to college, I decided that I should just partner up with someone, I should work for someone. And at first I thought I was freelancing, but then it turned out that I wasn't working per hour, I was working per job. And so I'd say, oh, well, this costs $600, this costs $2,000, and then that led into getting a percentage deal where I made a software product for someone and I lucked out because this person happened to be a marketer who knew what they were doing. They had a list, they had traffic, they had affiliates, they made all these sales, and I took a percentage and I made way more from the little percentage I made than I would from 100% of nothing or 100% from very little. And so again, sometimes people trash talk these things like freelancing or partnering up with someone else, but you know what? If you're setting your own hours, if you're charging your own prices, if you're happy, then what is the dang difference? Everyone talks about passive income, but is there truly anything as 100% passive income? Well, not really. Or if it is, it's rare or tough to duplicate. So here's another one of our great friends. His name is Vernon Jeter, and I think I saw him is he on the call? I think he was on the call, but anyway, Vernon Jeter. Here's what he has to say, is that you have shown me not to give up and that there are truly truthful others out there that are actually doing what they say. Your biggest contribution to me is you opened up WordPress to me years ago. This is when I was still building websites with Dreamweaver and Joomla. And what product, I cannot tell you for sure, but I learned about WordPress from you guys. So great. So a couple of great things about this, right? First of all is that the way that we helped Vernon was by pointing him the way. But if you look at his message here, he pointed out that he was already cranking along. He was already doing some stuff. So he didn't let all the choices of what to do or what not to do hold him up. He did the best he could with the tool he had. And then once he was rocking and rolling, once he knew what he was looking at, he said, oh yeah, well, these guys, Robert and Lance, have this thing called WordPress or use this thing called WordPress that's 20% better, 30% better than what I'm using. So by moving over to that, it's a step up. But not knowing WordPress was not a reason for Vernon not taking action. Does that make sense? I hope so. So passive income. I was looking for this basically golden road, right? This goal of passive income. And you can have some, but to be 100% offline, I mean, I don't know. So I put out software, and back then they were called PHP scripts. That led to creating PDF ebooks, and I'd create tutorials and show how to make web pages in general and how to make web pages look better. And that led to kind of seeing what people went for, and I said, oh, well, you know, people are buying this little thing, that little thing. Let me just package it all up, and maybe someone can buy a package on copywriting. I'll give them this software, this guide, this video training, all these different things, all in one package. Now that it's in a package, it can't really be compared to other Udemy courses out there or other Kindle books. It's like its own thing. So then that led to creating bigger courses that solve bigger problems, like creating membership sites, creating webinars, making a podcast. And then as we were explaining these things that gave better results, we could charge a higher price point. And this was great because I could make something, make a pile of money, make more money than I would have made working hourly. And I had this so-called leverage. So I'd put something out, send traffic, make money, and grow my list. So next time I'd make more money, but I was constantly creating. I had to make another software product, right? I had to make more videos. I had to write more ebooks, and it ended up being unmanageable even for me. It ended up being to the point where I was making okay money, but even I was losing track of what I was selling, and it was no longer a simple business. It was a business that made some money, but it just kept getting more and more complex by the day. So I kept telling myself that I do all these different things. Like I kept creating bigger and bigger master plans. And I realized at some point is that I had to stop waiting. And the best thing I've ever heard was from a guy named Mark Joyner, and he had a policy in his office that he didn't let any of his team members use the word wait. And they ended up using different terminology because they still kind of had to talk about it. But I found that very interesting that he did his best to remove it from their vocabulary. And they might say, instead of, well, we'll wait for that, they'd say, well, we'll get back to him on that, or we'll do that first. It forced them to do some mental acrobatics and replace the word wait, but at least they were conscious about it. And so sometimes you have to have that new way of thinking, or need to see a way that someone does things differently. And here's what happened. I met this guy, Lance Tomashiro, the guy who introduced me. And at the time I met Lance, here's what I knew I could do. Here's what my marketing skills were. I knew that I could sell 1,000 copies of something, right? I knew that if I sold 1,000 copies of my pop-up plugin or my copywriting plugin or whatever, that it was doing pretty well. But I could sell 1,000 copies over the lifetime. So that meant that if I put out a $17 product, I knew that I'd make $17,000 from that over the course of a year or two. Just to give you some reference here, that to me at the time, 1,000 sales of something over a year or two was a pretty big deal to me. So I met this guy, Lance Tomashiro, and he was brand new. He'd been marketing for just a few months. And I think I'd heard from someone else that he was making maybe $400 a month at that point. And I was like, all right, so he's an up and comer. And I talked to him on the phone, and he's like, yeah, we sold 2,000 yesterday. And I'm thinking, oh, that's so cute. Like, not 17,000, but $2,000, that's it. And the Lance goes, no, you misunderstand me. We made 2,000 sales. We sold 2,000 copies of this product at $17. We made $34,000 in your face. So I realized, geez, and Paul Bass says, sweet, right. So I was like, so here was this dude, Lance, he's older than me, but younger in internet marketer age than me, I guess you could say. And here I was being a little kind of condescending a little bit. And then I'm like, whoa, he's been at this for a couple of months and he's like blowing it out of the water. He's knocking it out of the park, to mix my metaphors here. So what was the difference? Why was it I was satisfied, or so I thought, until I saw this dude just making me look bad? I was like, oh, 17 grand is good. And he's like, no, 34 grand in a couple of days, or in a day, is what we want to do. So the difference was that I was focusing on creating stuff, on making products, making ebooks, making videos, but Lance was focused on the traffic piece. And he was doing some crazy stuff with traffic. Let me just give you a big list, and we don't have time to unpack these, but some of these are pretty crazy. He'd buy resale rights and then put them all in a membership site where he charged the monthly fee. Then he'd get people to join, because people would buy this site and they'd get all these tools and things they could plug in and sell on their own and stuff. And then he'd take the proceeds from that to buy more rights, add to the membership site. So pretty easy hands-off business there. Or he'd network with people on these Skype groups, and he'd say, well, you know what? I see that I have a list of 5,000 people. You have a list of 5,000 people. How about we work at a deal where I'll email for you, you email for me? Or he'd buy these emails outright. Or he had an arcade game site. You know how addictive Facebook is, or some of the iPad apps, or the Candy Crush, or the Farmville, or those sorts of things? Well, before we had all that, there were websites where you'd go to, right? Like Yahoo Games and things like that. Well, Lance had one of these arcade game sites where people would be playing the fake slot machine or the fake video poker, and then be on it at work all day long before Facebook. And then guess what? He'd have all these ads there where people would click, and he'd make a little bit of money from them. So these were all things Lance had going on. He had them all going on because he started with one, set it up, finished it, sent traffic, went to the next thing, started it up, finished it, sent traffic. These weren't all half-done things. These were all fully done things. I heard at one point that he was doing a launch and he paid people $1 just to send someone to him and sign up to his list. I thought, this is crazy. People are sending you traffic. They're not even making sales yet, but they eventually were. They were with like your relationship building and your emailing. But he was paying, if an affiliate sent him 100 new email subscribers, no sales, he'd pay him $100. I'm like, this is crazy. And he found a way to make it profitable with an upsell too. He was going to message boards. People would post on message boards and have like a little one-line signature link, and he'd go and buy ad space underneath their name, underneath all their forum posts. He'd run free webinars showing things like Bluehost or Aweber or WordPress or these things that you're talking about, or we've talked about so far. He'd say, I'm going to show you how to use Aweber, but you need to sign up under my link in order to use this tool. Or you need to use this WordPress plugin for your website, but click this link first to sign up under me, and then the rest of this training will make sense. So all this crazy stuff, list building contests, all these things in just a few months, and he was brand new. So he got all these things done that, I mean, you look at this whole list, and this is just like a fraction of what he had going on in just a few months. This might have taken other people 10 years to do. So there's something to be said about that whole saying, money loves speed, and take action before you have time to think about it. Because some people are, maybe you, or maybe people you know, are hesitating about people looking at your website. And I think it's better to work so fast that you don't even have time to hesitate. So case in point, someone else who's on the webinar right now, Paul Bass, or Paul Bass, I don't know, Paul, put it in the question box. Tell me, are you a Bass or Bass? So he says, I started using your WP import plugin to fill in my new niche sites. So it's like the fish. Cool. So Paul Bass. I can fill it up and edit and place pictures and such. Just for kicks, I installed this plugin on my personal blog, which I thought wouldn't need it. I found a couple of articles and posted them on my blogs. So just to catch you up, this is a plugin where you can, if you have content, you can upload and post a bunch of things, or you can type in a few keywords and you can pull pre-written articles from our database. So either way, an easy way to fill up a blog with content. So Paul used the $7 plugin from us, found some articles, and he got a call from a magazine who said, well, we were looking about bloggers who know about making family memories, and based on their search, they found his blog. Well, guess what? They found his blog because of our software that gave him the article that was already written for his site. So this is pretty amazing, right? When the phone rings because of a WordPress plugin you just click around and play with, that's pretty amazing. Paul didn't have to write it, and yet the magazine found him that way. So Paul said, all right, well, this is encouraging, right? Because I was just goofing off, but now a magazine called me. He looked for the keywords that his site was listed for, and it turns out that the articles that he used, and everyone these days talks about duplicate content and stuff like that. Even with all the weird superstition, Paul used our WP import plugin. He typed in a couple of keywords, clicked some buttons, got some instant articles on his blog, and then noticed that, well, geez, I'm ranking in Google so much that these magazines are calling from me, even to the point, so he sent this in the other day, and they said near the beginning that it's hard to make out with the picture, but Paul Bass, pbass.net, and I don't know if they mentioned him somewhere else, but pretty cool, right? And turns out that our a letter we sent to him is in the background too. So I kind of like to brag about that. But pretty cool how just setting up a website, clicking some buttons led to now this article where they mention his name and his website is right on there. And now in the same way that he was encouraged by clicking around on his site and setting some stuff up and he sees where he's ranked, now he's encouraged even further by being published to do more things in his online business. So are you seeing that there are lots of different fun ways out there to make money? It's not just, let me make a website, let me focus on some CSS and some HTML. I mean, an arcade site is sounds super fun, right? Or a PLR membership site, or clicking some buttons on a plugin and getting published in a magazine. So there are lots of fun ways to make money. But here's the problem is, like I said, I'm a nerdy computer programmer. In computer programming, there's a thing called the Iceberg Principle. You see this iceberg? By the way, berg means city, so it's like an ice piece of ice that's as big as a city. And you might have seen pictures of them. I don't think haven't seen an iceberg in person myself. Maybe you have. Maybe you've seen a picture, but it's this huge damn thing. Pardon my language. But then you say, even as big as this is, there's 90% down below that you don't see. All you see is the little bit above the water. This is why the Titanic sank. They were like, we're the Titanic, we're this huge ship. What's a little floaty piece of ice? Well, no, you're missing out on 10 times of what's down there. And the same thing is true for what you see on the internet. When you see someone else's launch, website, product, webinar, membership site, emails they send, whatever, you're not seeing a complete picture. You're only seeing the top 10% layer. You're only seeing the split test they happen to be running right now. You're only seeing the email of theirs that you happen to open, or the web page of theirs that you happen to go and look at, or the webinar of theirs you happen to see. So you don't see the tweaking, the mistakes, the iterations, their thought process that led to that final result. And it's not even the final result. They're going to continue tweaking and testing the webinar, the page, the offer. They might try a new offer. So a lot of people, they'll look to copy things, but they'll be copying the wrong thing. They don't realize that 80% of your business and your time is so-called a waste. 80% of your time and your business is spent on figuring it out, and then but you're looking for the gold in there. You're looking for the diamonds in the rough, to mix my metaphors again. You're spending 80% of your time to find the 20% of your websites, your web pages, your products, whatever is in your future, the 20% that's going to make all your money. So let's not worry about 10, 20, 30 different things. Let's focus on 3 things for your funnel to be an internet marketer. If you don't have these 3 things, you're not in business. You're not doing internet marketing unless you have these 3 components. Component number 1, a website or an offer. Component number 2, new people coming to the website. What did we call this? That's traffic. And then return visitors so that you continue to grow. You call this your list. You combine all these things, and here's what the end result is. That you send traffic to your website, they end up on a list, maybe it's an opt-in form, something like that. They see offers, these are things to buy. Products of yours, affiliate links you have in there, things like that. And you might even have a little bit of extra mileage here because someone might come to your site, they might go right to the offer. After they buy something from you, you get them on a little bit of a buyer's list, get them to buy the offer again. But you have to have these 3 things in place because what happens if you don't have an offer, whether, again, a product or an affiliate link? No one buys anything. What if you have an offer but no traffic? No one sees it in the first place. What happens if you don't build a list? You get some traffic, but then it dies. So you need to have all 3 of these things: traffic, list, and offer. Traffic, just to make sure we're all on the same page, is anyone coming to your website, like on a Google search, a paid Facebook ad, a Facebook live stream link click, YouTube ad, guest blog post. You've heard of some of these things, and you might have thought, well, geez, I have to do these 20 things. It's not 20 things. It's all in that one category. It's all a traffic method. So choosing to do a Facebook ad instead of a YouTube ad might not be a huge difference, but what does make a huge difference is forgetting about the traffic piece to begin with. Next, building a list. And some people hear about building a list and they say, oh, well, do I buy a list? Do I rent a list? None of that. But then they say, oh, do I have a freebie? Well, yeah, if you have a freebie, that's great. But for me, the real power was in that buyer's list. I tried for the longest time playing around with the freebie list, and I was only okay at it. But if someone paid me $7, $100, $500, that's way more valuable than someone who's never paid me any money. If someone's bought $500 from me, now I know that they trust me enough, they have a credit card, they want to get real results, they're serious about their business because they put some skin in the game, they actually bought something. And if they bought something, they're way more likely to go through that course or that software they bought, as opposed to trying to piece it together from message boards, from Facebook, from the YouTube tutorials, which kind of ends to more confusion than when you started, right? So your lists are also people who maybe are affiliates, people that you want to have in your army, people you want to do business with. So lists can mean many different things. It doesn't just mean free people, in the same way that traffic doesn't mean just one thing either, in the same way that an offer doesn't mean just one thing. An offer can just mean I'm going to send some traffic to some affiliate link. I'm going to make my own information product. I'll offer coaching, I'll sell software, I'll provide a service to do it for you. There's more than one way to do an offer. but you have to have some kind of a traffic source, some way to build a list, some way to have your offers. You have all these three things in place. That's way more of a business. That's way more organized than most people out there. And if you have those things set up and they're not quite where you want them to be, then you say, which needs beefing up? Does the offer suck? Should I be building my list? Should I get more traffic? At least that way you have a starting point. Now you know where to go from there. And it's one thing to give you advice or give you some ideas, but I want to give you a system. I want to help you build the machine. And we call this the income machine. And here's what it involves. The front end, which is your opt-in page, which builds your list, and with some kind of a freebie, and a sales letter where you have something for sale, an offer. And your back end, where once someone buys something from you, they click and they get something. And we'll show you how to start simple, how to start it off with just a simple one-page download page. And if you want to get fancy later, a membership site. We include software in the Income Machine course for that as well. But it makes sense, right? You have something for sale, you need to have some sort of a back end for someone to get the thing they bought. And then once you have those things in place, you send traffic any which way you can. You approach people for joint ventures, you post on Facebook, you run ads, and that's where the fun begins. And that's where a lot of people don't realize they need to be. You need to be in traffic mode in the same way that when I met Lance, he was growing super fast, he was crushing it, he was killing it because he was looking into every which way to bring internet traffic to him. But if you don't have a website to bring traffic to, you're kind of caught in this weird place, right? Because you're like, I don't have a website, I need traffic, but why would I send traffic? I don't have a website. So get the website set up first. That way, that half of the problem is solved. Now you look on traffic and you send people to your website. Does that make sense? I hope so. So you set up your front end, which is an opt-in page and a sales letter. Your back end, which is a download page or a membership site. And then you just send traffic from all these different ways. But a lot of people out there, not saying you, people out there, they get half of their half of their opt-in page done, half of their sales letter, half of their membership site, or it's a test site. And then when it comes to traffic, they're like, well, I can't send it here, I can't send it here, I can't send it here. Well, we need to focus a little better. We need to change our thinking. That way we get something done here, and that way we can send traffic somewhere else. 3 simple steps. The front end, which is the opt-in page or free gift, and a sales letter, which gives people reasons to buy something from you. The back end, which is a membership site. Now, don't get scared about a membership site. Just think of it as a protected download area. It's possible for you to have a membership site that's just one single page that somebody pays just $10 for one time, none of this monthly stuff, $100 one time, none of this monthly stuff. Keep it simple. And then traffic, don't get bogged down on that. Just think of traffic as links. What links will people click on to get to my site? If that's a link in a paid ad, a link on Facebook, a link on YouTube, whatever it is, that's just links taking people back to your blog, maybe from search engines, people going back from to your sales letter if you have friends like that. So there you go. That's traffic for you. So you combine these 2 things, internet marketing, which is your list, your offers, and your traffic, plus the income machine to make it happen, which again is your website and your opt-in page, your sales letter, and your autoresponder sequence. Let's call that the front end. Then your download page, which then can be a membership site, call that the back end, and then traffic, which is everything else you hear about, whatever the latest, greatest craze is, right? Retargeting, pay-per-click ads, PPV ads, all that silly stuff. Now that's just the traffic part. If someone says, are you building a list? You can say, well, yeah, because I have an opt-in page. And when in that list, are you sending them offers? Well, yeah, because I have a sales letter and I'm also sending that list I built through my email autoresponder sequence. And if someone buys from the sales letter, they go to my download page and they're on my list again. So then I can send them more stuff in the email autoresponder. Are you starting to get it? I know it might get a little hairy in there, but once you have things set up, now you have options. Now you're not just a student. Now you're not just in research mode. Now you're actually doing it. So Income Machine 2.0 is what we have for you to get you out of student and learning mode and into doing mode, into making money mode. Who wants to be just a poor, starving student? I'd rather be a business owner. I want to have a real business, not just a hobby. So Having a real business means that you choose a niche. And you don't just say, I do anything and everything. Like me and Lance, we sell WordPress plugins. We teach membership sites. So then you might say, I'm going to teach weight loss. I'm going to teach drone racing. So based on that niche, now I know what website I need to set up. And that leads me to what lead capture page I can make. So that way, if someone finds my website, they have a reason to sign up. Maybe I can give them the top 3 weight loss tips, or the reviews on the top 5 drones out there. Someone goes and they find a web page, they enter their email in exchange for that freebie. Now you have an excuse to talk to them. You can talk to them about different things they can buy, different affiliate offers, different things on your blog to warm them up, all these things that you see others doing. So why not you? You send them to a sales letter to buy things. You send them to, if they've already bought, to your membership site to get some bonus. You do whatever you can to get traffic to feed the whole entire machine. And we give you the tools today to do all of this. We give you our plugin called Paper Template, which allows you to create landing pages, that's sales letters, that's download pages, that's opt-in pages. We give you our Member Genius plugin that allows you to create a backend to create a membership site where you can deliver something someone buys for, and our plugin called Backup Creator, which allows you to back up your site like it explains, but we give you pre-made clones already made. So that way you can grab the front end. You can have a sales letter already in place, just change some words up. You can have an opt-in page already in place, just plug in your own autoresponder. You have a blog template already in place, just put in your own content. So we give you something that's already has the framework, the skeleton, the scaffolding, whatever terminology you want to use, and then you change up some of the words on here. And so here's what the inside of our Income Machine course looks like. And you just say, today I'm going to work on a niche, today I'm going to work on my website, today I'm going to work on my opt-in page, and you just go through step by step. And we have a great question that came in about if you have a site that's not fully set up, well then I would go through this and see if it matches up, and see if you did what you were supposed to do with your niche. And if you already have the website set up, well then I'd still watch this, but you have it already set up. And then once you get to that point, you can see that we set up WordPress, and you say, all right, I already set up WordPress, I'm with you there. And then you go and set up the opt-in page, you set up the autoresponder, set up the blog. So whatever you have set up is most likely incomplete. That's why you're here, right? And at the very least, even if you have some or all of this set up, at least go through and see the way that we do it, because you might have missed out on something important in the opt-in page. I'll give you an example. I don't have a picture of an opt-in page to pull up right here, right now, but you have an opt-in page where there's like a headline, a form to sign up with. You tell them what they're signing up for. A lot of people are missing out on giving the instructions saying, go ahead, sign up in this form right now. So there are little tweaks like that, or maybe you're stuck as far as what to write in your autoresponder sequence. You have email writing block, or you need easier ideas for blog posts. There's always something in here for someone to use. And that's in Income Machine 2.0. We have training on how to choose your niche, make your online presence, lead capture, sales funnel, blog, sales letter, membership site, traffic, and more. And for a total value so far of $5,576. And here's what I mean about some of the cool tools we have. Here's what's called our niche selector. So what we can do for you is you put in a keyword, like if you're teaching websites, drone racing, weight loss, whatever, you might put weight loss in here, and then it will give you this huge list of possible names for your website, and you dump this all into, and we show you where to dump this into, and you can check all these .com names and find an available domain name for your own business that you're about to set up. But wait, there's more. Because then, let's say you use our training, you find a niche, you set it all up, you make an opt-in page, all these different things that you've been hearing about, but maybe you've been missing out on, or maybe not quite been setting up quite the right way. Well, we have a way for you to fill in this stuff. We give you these step-by-step instructions and a special code to put in your email autoresponder that will fill up a whole sequence for you where you only have to change the names. And here's what I mean. And so we show you how to get an autoresponder account with this specific service. You put in a code, it loads up your whole sequence. But even if you want to make your own sequence or do it some other way, you can scroll down and answer a few questions, and it will just fill in as you see here. It fills in, for example, there's a part where you build a relationship, another part later on where you mail to a paid product. And so you just answer a few questions, and then it tells you exactly what to put in your email autoresponder sequence. So that way someone comes to your site, they might sign up for something for free, they get an email on a timer on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 5, things like that. And before, you might have said, I don't know what to write for my list. Well, guess what? Now we give you the fill in the blanks to have for your list. So there's multiple things in here, right? It's not just, here's how to use WordPress, have a nice day. It's, here's how to use WordPress with our tools, and here's how to set up the things that you need to set up. An opt-in page, a sales letter, a download page, a membership site, a blog, traffic. So we help you to set up these very specific things. That way they can all work together, and we include not just the tools if we can, but also these templates that you're seeing right here, just plugging on in. So we show you how to set up your niche, lead capture, blog, sales letter, all that fun stuff. We include our landing page plugin, Paper Template 3.0, Member Genius 2.0, Backup Creator, our clones. You just click, you make an opt-in page, you click, it makes a sales letter, you click, it makes a blog, makes the whole site, you click, it makes the whole membership site with all the pages. You just rename Module 1 to what your Module 1 is. So it's way easier to start from something than to start from nothing, right? You click, there's a whole membership site in there, you just change a few things around, and it's way easier to go from there. So total value so far of $7,315 to get your front end created, to get your back end created, and then get to the traffic part where now you're just sending people to this thing that you set up. So Income Machine 2.0 comes with these modules, comes with these bonuses, comes with the checklist, done for your email sequence, bonus videos on how to use screen capture software, how to use PowerPoint, how to use webinars. There's access to our private Facebook group and lifetime access to the recordings and transcripts. You get physical DVDs set in the mail and a printed manual with screenshots so you can have it on your desk, read it wherever, circle it, highlight it, it's yours. It's a printed manual shipped right to your door for a total value of $12,288. And there's so much cool stuff from this membership site, but all things that you need, all things that you can get to without being overwhelmed. It's not like we just threw a bunch of stuff in there for the heck of it. We threw in all the things that help us, all the things that we use when we set up a new funnel or an income machine. And what's great about this is you can check off your progress as you go along. So here's a picture of the inside of our membership site of one of the areas, and you can go through and you can say, well, it's one thing to learn about a niche or learn about my lead capture page, but let me make some decisions. Let me check off some boxes. And as you check off the boxes, it fills in the color wheel on top so you can see how you're doing. And you can see if you have holes in your knowledge, holes in your business, if you are missing things, if you forget things, you can see that you checked the box or not. So Income Machine contains everything you need to stop being on the day merry-go-round, to stop having that sick feeling of, I feel like I should be doing enough, and not that feeling of, well, I know that if I went and found a coach or I found a mastermind, they'd tell me to do these really simple, basic things, and I know that I'd feel kind of stupid because I've heard about a sales letter, I've heard about an opt-in page, I've heard about a blog, but when this coach or this mastermind or this mentor or whatever you want to call it, when they ask me where my opt-in page is, I can't really show them. Or if they ask me where's my membership site, I can't really show them. So now you can have that foundation in place, and then when it's time for you to move to that next level of finding a coach or mastermind, they can see what you've already set up to debug the system, to get the kinks worked out, as opposed to trying to tell you what to do. You can say, okay, well, don't just tell me, I did it, look at what I did, now you tweak, you course correct what it is that I've set up. So it's not going to be $12,000, it's not going to be $4,000. We've run live events in Las Vegas for $24.97, and you can get many courses for less, or for $997 that only have a piece of this. But with this, you get many courses in one, and it's not even $997. It's not even $497 or $297. It's just $197 today to get basically 10 or even 12 courses in one. It's Income Machine. It's just $197. It includes our paper template, landing page plugin, and we include everything on how to get your website online fast as far as blog, traffic, sales letter, opt-in page, all this great training. It includes our Member Genius plugin where you can start taking payments today, but a plugin on its own is one thing. We show you how to get it online. We show you how to go and get membership content. Hint, it's a thing called resale rights. That's a great starting point. And you can even add on affiliate links as upsells. So there are a lot of shortcuts that you may have not been aware of, or you may have just been making things too hard on yourself. So do you know that to have a consistent blog going, the bare minimum for that is to grab some YouTube videos. We can show you how to have a blog with a year's worth of content without having to go to it every day. We can show you how to go and select a product where you can just buy the rights to it, buy the rights to the download itself, buy the rights to the web page, the sales letter, and just paste it, do a little reformatting, and call it a day. Get this product you've been thinking about for 6 months, get the first iteration of it, version 1.0, online in a couple of hours. Why make it take longer than it needs to be? This includes our backup creator plugin to back up your site, sure, but the power in this is that this includes templates. So you click a button, you have your front end set up with your opt-in page, with your sales letter, with this backup creator plugin. You have your membership site set up with all your pages with the backup creator plugin and this clone. You have your blog set up with your first few pieces of content. You just fill in what's there with our clone. So you get the whole system online and you make more money because you didn't have to be switching gears. You didn't have to be starting new projects. Now you're a finisher of projects. And guess what? All these things we've been talking about, I know it's a lot. I'm doing my best to keep it all simple, but it's available all right now today. And not only is it available today, but it is 100% risk-free. We set up a new income machine right there in front of you, and this membership site, this course includes resources, tools, and transcripts with screenshots. You have your complete system online in under 3 days, and there's a 30-day 100% priority guarantee. What does that mean? It means that you get your money back for any reason or no reason at all. If you don't like it for whatever reason, within 30 days, just reach out to us, get your money back, no harm done. So here's the thing, is that Income Machine, I'll be honest, it might not be for you. It just might not be. And let's see how and why that could be. So it might not be for you if you choose to continue to make things too hard on yourself. It might not be for you if you think that you're a self-sabotager and you just deep down secretly want to fail. I hope that's not you. If that is you, maybe there's a way of changing your thinking, but it might not be for you if you keep on shooting yourself in the foot. It might not be for you if you're comfortable with some mediocre results. If you'd like tomorrow to be like yesterday, if you'd like next year to be like last year, then I don't know, Income Machine might not be the new horizons you're looking for. But Income Machine is definitely for you if you want it shown in simple but powerful terms. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you know that you might not be ready for a mastermind, a coach just yet, but doing it by your own is so freaking lonely and kind of sucks. So you might agree with me, and I think you agree, and I hope you agree, that sometimes you need new thinking and new strategies to see new results. So if all the things you've been hearing today about the front end, the back end, the niche, the blog, the membership site, all those things, if that all sounds good to you, the place to go is incomemachine.com. Because a year from now, you'll wish you started today. Just like I was saying earlier that those first couple of years online, I had to do so much trial and error, guess and check, until I started paying more attention to what I was buying, to the projects I kept making and not finishing. I knew there had to be a better way. I made it simple. I got more focused. I had an actual goal to hit, right? I think I heard this from Lance, if you don't have a goal, you won't hit it. So if you don't know about what sort of web pages you set up, you'll just set up any old thing. But if you say, I'm going to set up an opt-in page, I'll make an autoresponder sequence, I'll set up a sales letter, a membership site, I'll send traffic, then those are targets to hit. So if you want to hit some targets, if you're tired of just fudging it, if you want to say, I got some goals, I'll go and make them, the course to help you do that is incomemachine.com. So go to www.incomemachine.com. That's incomemachine.com to secure your spot right now. click the pay button and send $197, and you'll log into the site in the next few minutes to get your training, your plugins, your clones, your checklist, your tools, and all those modules are delivered instantly. As long as you agree that they're all there for you, but just try to agree with me if you can to start at module 1, go to module 2, go to module 3, do your best to not skip stuff, so that way you have a complete system in place. That way you're not just piecing things together, you see it all step by step for you. IncomeMachine.com is the place to go, and on that webpage you'll see that it contains these modules, these tools, these clones, these extra things to all make your online journey a success. IncomeMachine.com. But you know what? Stay around for a second on this webinar because we have a special surprise bonus. But first, before we do, I want to make sure that you can find the webpage. It's www.IncomeMachine.com. So IncomeMachine.com, and you go there, and what are you going to see? Well, you're going to see what's called a sales letter. What a concept. We actually practice what we preach. You see a sales letter, you see where you get on in this course, you see people who've used it, you scroll down, on the bottom here, here's the order form. It's one payment of $197 or 5 payments of $39.95. Any way you want to slice it, either way, it gets you into the same course. There's no drip content. So if you're the kind of person where you just want to get it paid off, you want to get it paid off in increments, either way gets you to the same place. It includes all the training we talked about, the landing page plugin, the membership site plugin, the clones, it's all included in the same exact place. But I said there was something special for you today, right? Isn't it fun to get a special deal? Who wants to get the same deal as everyone else? Nobody. You want to feel like you got a little extra, right? So here's my extra for you today. It's a 40-minute consultation, one final push. This is our unannounced bonus to get you in the door. If you've been hearing from us, if you know us, if all this makes sense and you're like, I'm still not sure, it has all this stuff, but I'm still not sure. Well, Lance and I will meet with you personally. We'll call you on the phone. We'll meet with you personally for 40 minutes. So here's what we want you to do is just join the course, and there's a special link that you see as soon as you join where you can schedule a time for us to call you on the phone. But here's my suggestion for you. I suggest that you wait a little bit and save that until you get stuck. And you can feel perfectly okay to disregard my advice. I won't take offense at all, because here's what you can do. Is you might be the kind of person that says, all right, I'm going to join. I'm going to schedule my call before I do anything just to make sure that I know what I'm supposed to do. Some people are like that. So you can buy this access to this course, schedule a call, meet with us, and now you have a plan. Or maybe you're the kind of person that says, all right, well, you know what? I'm going to join the course. I'm just going to go and do some things until I get stuck. So maybe I get stuck on the sales letter part. Maybe I get something set up. I get a few things in place. I get stuck. Okay, now it's time for me to schedule my 40-minute call. Or maybe you're a smarty pants. There's nothing wrong with being a smarty pants. I think that I'm one of those people. So maybe you're the kind of person that says, I have a few skills here, or maybe I have a virtual assistant that can help me. I'll join Income Machine. I'll get it all set up. And then when it's time to see what the next steps are, then I'll schedule that 40-minute call with Lance and Robert. So any way you want to slice it, but it's yours to schedule whenever you feel like it. But join right now to claim this one. If you see this right now, you join right now, you'll see it in the members area when you log in. You can use that whenever you want, like we said, before you take action, if you get stuck, after you take action, whatever. But we would love to hear from you and hear about your future plans and dreams, or even better, what you've already set up. So hurry up. Go ahead, do it right now. Go to www.IncomeMachine.com, because you can have all the access to all the different shopping carts, all the WordPress themes in the world. But what good is any of that unless you have a plan, a system, the tools, the checklist to help you get it done? So that way you're moving in a straight line, not trying to go all over the place, if that makes sense. So what to do is step 1, go to IncomeMachine.com to secure your spot. 2, click the pay button and send $197 for instant one-time payment access to a lifetime of the course. And 3, log into the site in the next few minutes, www.IncomeMachine.com, 8 modules, a bunch of bonuses, plugins, clones, checklists, things like that, physical DVDs and manual, just $197 today at www.IncomeMachine.com, and we'll see you there. So there's nothing else to be said on this call. We're about to shut the webinar down right now. So I hope to see you over there on the webpage and in the members area. So that way you can finally make some progress, get some traction, move to the next level, build a business that is actually on its way to supporting your lifestyle and not just having a hobby, not just dabbling, taking some action, having some goals, getting some projects done, making some money, getting traffic, building a list, having a real internet marketing business, not just a fake internet marketing business. Who wants that? We want something real. So to get that real thing, go to incomemachine.com and we'll see you there. I'm Robert Plank. We're about to close this webinar down right now, so incomemachine.com is a place to be. We'll see you in there. Bye now, and thank you.